Sally, still outside the City Hall here, of course, not long after Parliament rejected the adoption of the Phala Phala report. In fact, I want to talk now to the president of the party that started it all. When these allegations of the Phala Phala farm theft came to the fore, they're the ones that went to the speaker. That is the African Transformation Movement, and we have the president here, Vuyo Zungula. Thank you for joining us at ENSA once more. Your feedback and your take, because it seems now Parliament is rejecting that impeachment process and the investigations that would actually iron out what happened at the president's farm.
You are very correct, Mfethu, because what Parliament has done today, it has said we are rejecting to investigate a person. An independent panel has stated that particular person has got a case to answer. In other words, the ANC majority has said today, Mr. Ramaphosa is above the law, he's above the constitution, because he must not be investigated. You'll recall that a few months ago, there was an ad hoc committee that was proposed by one of the parties in Parliament to investigate the conduct of the entire, the different departments. The ANC said no. Today, the House was supposed to decide on an inquiry to investigate the specific conduct of the president. Again, the ANC said no. In other words, in the minds of the ANC, them as a party and their leaders, they are above the constitution, they are above the law, they must not be scrutinized, because an inquiry was not going to say he is guilty. We're not voting today to say Mr. Ramaphosa is guilty. We're voting today to establish whether he is guilty or is innocent. As we sit here now, there's no one who can confidently say Mr. Ramaphosa is guilty of anything or he's innocent of anything. And this process done by Parliament, which was going to ensure that Mr. Ramaphosa puts all of the facts on the table, they've rejected it.
And you've been to court a number of times. One was to oppose the president's review on the Phala Phala saga itself, the Section 89 report. The other was around the Speaker of Parliament and the process being open. What are you going to do now with those court processes, given the outcome of Parliament today?
Firstly, the decision by the Speaker not to grant us a secret ballot is irrational, because even though the court state the power to the discretion to determine whether a secret ballot or not lies with the Speaker, but she must not use the personal feelings and emotions on the matter. She must look at the circumstances, because her power as a Speaker is not her personal powers, it is powers that are given to her by the people of South Africa. So we sent letters to the Speaker detailing how members of Parliament are threatened. Even yesterday, there's Mr. Nyonso and Mr. Olomisa who received SMSs receiving threats. So we are definitely going to court to seek that the voting method that was done today, it was unlawful, because the decision not to grant a secret ballot was irrational. Also, the decision taken by Parliament not to investigate a person who an independent panel set up by Parliament said this person has got a case to answer, that decision as well is also irrational in our view. Hence, we are definitely going to court.
I was about to ask the way forward. So you're saying more court action from your side?
More court action, and more over and above the more court action, we are going to proceed using the existing committees to make sure that Mr. Ramaphosa is held accountable. And I want to repeat this. Since June, when this became public knowledge, until now, Mr. Ramaphosa has not taken any public, platform, speak out to the people and say, I'm accounting to you. This is what transpired. South Africans are in the dark. Even members of the ANC, Shem, they are made to defend into Bangayaziyo because they don't know what happened at Phala Phala. That is why it's critical that we as members of Parliament asuzubuyamva sizoqhubeleka simqinisekise ukuba uMr Ramaphosa lona has to account on everything that he does as a state president. He can't abuse power and he can't break laws and want to be president. If he does not want to be held accountable, he must leave that office. If he wants to remain as the president of the country, he must subject himself to Parliament holding him accountable.
But the president says that the report itself is flawed. It's taken the Section 89 report on review. So shouldn't Parliament wait for those court processes to unfold and be completed before determining a way forward when it comes to impeaching the president?
We are not impeaching the president. What was going to happen today is to adopt a report and set an impeachment inquiry. An impeachment inquiry that would give a platform for the president to actually state his case.
But that would be based on the Section 89 report, which the president says it's flawed and is in court. Shouldn't Parliament wait for that process to be cleared out by court before then looking into investigating the outcomes of the report?
Look, the Speaker has opposed that application by the President. Even parties in Parliament have opposed that application by the President because that application, it is not done in good faith. That application, if it was done in good faith, it was going to be urgent. The fact that the President cites a non-existent panel, he cites members of Parliament in their personal capacity, does not cite the entire 14 parties in Parliament, clearly shows that even himself, he's not taking the entire process seriously. And I want to remind you, the President was given ample opportunity to actually state his case in that particular independent panel. He was given all of our submissions. He was given the rules. And when he responded, he did legitimize that independent panel. It can't be that when that independent panel finds against him, he runs to court, whereas he was fine with the rules. He was fine with the evidence and the information that was before the independent panel. However, when the independent panel says you've got a case to answer, he says, I don't agree with the rules. I don't agree with the evidence. I don't agree with what you have stated. So that is why the process of Parliament we cannot as Parliament take our work, give it to other institutions such as the courts or these Chapter 9 institutions. We must independently do our work as Parliament.
All right. Thank you very much. The President of the African Transformation Movement, Vuyo Zungula, threatening more court action following, of course, the rejection of the Phala Phala report by Parliament. In fact, rejection of further investigations that would actually iron out what happened at the President's farm theft.